So good morning, everybody. We are doing Mastery Monday, skill number 4, following up with prospects. And I was just having a little conversation, a pre-conversation with the group about perception and how our perception just shades everything as to how we see it, not how other people see it or even experience it. And I was just telling them about experience where I thought that the room was flat and maybe it wasn't that great of an event. And Chris and I were doing the event. We were the facilitators. And I even felt like I'd pushed one person maybe a little too far. Bottom line is she came back and absolutely loved the event, thought it was completely inspirational. And so how many of you, and again, I thought I had pushed her too far. I didn't think that maybe she liked me. I wasn't upset about somebody not liking me. It was just what I thought might be reality, which in fact, it was so far from the truth. And how many of you feel like that on follow-up? You're calling somebody over and over and and you're thinking you're being too pushy or you're being too whatever, and maybe finally they decide to say yes, and they say to you, I'm so thankful that you didn't give up on me. I'm so thankful that you continue to love on me. And it would be so great if our follow-up calls were simply called love calls, because I think it takes a lot of love on our part to keep calling somebody who doesn't respond, who doesn't give us necessarily great signals, but we keep loving on them, thinking that, and knowing, not thinking, but knowing we have a possibility of transforming their lives. So it's really all about these love calls and the follow-up. So in relationship to us being professionals, how many of you actually tell your prospect, your potential client, that you're going to be calling them back up and you're going to follow up with them? How many of you actually do that? Yeah, you probably say, I'm going to send you this video and can we talk in the next few days? When's a good time? Hopefully that is what you're doing, because every single event, every phone call, every text should end with a question of what do we do next? What do you need next? How can I serve you next? Here's the next thing. So let's make sure that we keep that moving. But on the same note as that is that we got to keep loving ourselves in order to love them, to do that kind of follow-up with them. So, so in relationship to being professional, if you say you're going to follow up, if you say you're going to call them, if you say that you're going to send them a video and you don't, what does that mean to them? I think it means a couple things, but what do you think?
You're not a person of your word.
Not a person of your word, which is what a professional is. What else, Leslie? Anything else?
Also that they don't matter that much, that you were just in the moment and that it wasn't really genuine, that you wanted to help them.
Right. And that just reminds me about somebody I just met yesterday. I got to get out their information. Not only being a person of my word, but really about caring, So yeah, Denise.
I also think that if you don't follow up, they don't take seriously what you're offering, because they're like, oh, well, it must not be that big a deal, you know?
If she's not serious enough about to let me in for the information, it mustn't be all that good, or she doesn't care that much even about what she's sharing, not just about me, but apparently it's not that important. So that's really great. So, so again, being a person of your word, and then this concept was already brought up in terms of being professional. I mean, in terms of what I said earlier, the reason to have an exposure is to set up the next exposure. So you've sent them the video, and then at the end of that, you're going to say, when are we going to have an opportunity to talk about this? I'd love to hear what resonated for you, what you liked best. You know, oh, I'm sorry, Denise, that must be annoying. Denise just said she's losing sound. And so is the sound okay for everybody else? Great. So the bottom line here is that everything that you do in mind with what the next exposure is, that's really important. So you just sent them a video and you said you're going to follow up, and you do. Let's say you do, and you have that conversation, the next conversation that you have, and maybe they haven't had an opportunity to listen to it. That's okay, but you're going to set up the next time to talk again. You're going to set it up again. And let's say they have listened to it, and you have a conversation about it, and they're just not quite there yet. So what could you do next? What could the next exposure be? Yes, I watched it. I'm not really sure it's for me. What could be your next exposure? But unmute yourself, Bonnie. There you go.
I would just ask questions to determine what their needs, interests, and other intentions are.
Yeah, so if they're not quite ready yet, the question could be as much as, my gosh, are you still intrigued? Is this something you're still curious about? Yes, I am. Is there something that you saw on the video that if I could do another video that related to that or could give you more information? What are your concerns? Just like Bonnie is saying, so that you can match up the next video, or maybe the connection call. Maybe you have some questions and it just needs to be a connection call. But let's just say we have a great connection call. Okay, the connection call is great. This potential client seems like they're in the energy of yes. What's the next exposure?
Well, if they're in the energy of yes, asking for the sale would be.
Yeah.
This is what I think.
Yes, yes, you feel like they're leaning in. You're not going to say, would you like more information? You're going to probably say, oh my gosh, it sounds like you're ready to get started. Let's go. And so they say, yes, I am. And now they've given you your information. You put in their information. So what's the next exposure? The information has gone in, the order is placed. What's the next exposure? If everything has a next exposure.
Well, I'd take calling a few days later to see if they got it and kind of advise them how to start and how to limit detox and that.
Absolutely. You're going to then call and check in with them and start to begin your process of great customer care. And how many of you are aware of, especially with the Family Starts program where the kids are on the Chewies, what's the very best way to introduce the Chewies? Are all of you aware of that? And if somebody is, if they'd like to share it, otherwise I will. Yeah, Leslie?
I know I've heard Dr. Sears say introduce the Chewies when the kid is hungry.
Uh-huh.
So you wait until like after school when they're ready for their snack, but before you give them the snack, then you give them the Chewies first, because that helps, like their body's ready for nutrition, so they're much less apt to reject it at that point.
And you know, when you're hungry, you'll kind of eat anything. So when they're hungry, it's a great time for them to eat something, right? So that's a really good thing. And then which do you think is better to introduce first, the veggies or the fruits? And tell us why you think that.
Veggies, because they're not as sweet.
Absolutely. If you do the veggies first, and they may just be, some kids love them, some kids don't like them at all, and some kids are kind of indifferent. But if they've had the fruit one first and it's super sweet and then they have the veggie, the likelihood of them liking it diminishes. So I always start with the veggie first, and then they get the fruit and they say, oh, this is better, but they didn't say the other one was bad. And so when you're then continuing to give it to them, if they really don't like the veggies, what you can have parents do is slice them in half and mush them together. Fruit and veggie in one. Just mush them together and give it that way. So those are some really important things. So let's talk about the fact, though, if you do call them and at the scheduled time, so again, you've said, gee, I'm sending you this video, and you can say right in your text, it's a short one. Do you think we could have a conversation on Thursday or Friday? Give them a choice, Thursday or Friday. They say Thursday. You can say in the morning or evening on Thursday. Give them some choices. Let them tell you what's the best time. And they commit to Thursday night. You call them Thursday night, and either A, they don't answer, or B, they haven't watched it. So what if they didn't answer? What are you going to do? Somebody besides Leslie. Leslie's got this down. Jesse, how about you? What happens if they don't answer? What are some things you could do? Since we're wet heads together.
I might send a text message and say, hey, I tried to call you because I know you wanted to connect Thursday evening. Just, you know, I'm free the rest of the night. If you see this, you want to give me a call, or I'd love to connect with you some other time. Do you have a different day that might work better?
And so so notice that she didn't reprimand her. I can't believe you said you were going to be on and you aren't. Like that, don't do that. So you just want to say, and some of the times what I might do is even text them and say, you know, I thought we had an appointment tonight at 7, just wanting to make sure you were okay. Because I know, and I loved how you started it, Jesse, when you said, I know that you were interested in having a conversation about this. So they remember that they said they were interested rather than whatever, reminding them. And then just, can we reschedule? What's a good time for you? Okay. So let's say you call them and they pick up and they're excited to talk to you, but they haven't watched the video.
Well, if they're excited, I would say, you know, would we want to watch the video together? You know, I could send it via text or I could send it via Facebook Messenger, and it's less than 5 minutes. So do you want to watch it together?
You know, if they pick, that is such a good one, Holly. If they've picked up the phone, it means they have time. And if you get off the phone and they haven't watched it, so you could even say, hey, let me resend it to you. Why don't you give it a go right now? It's only 3 minutes, it's only 4 minutes, whatever, and I'll call you back. Would that be okay? And it'll be fun because it'll be so fresh in your mind. Or like you said, Holly, we can watch it together. And so that is, I don't think most people would do that. If they haven't watched it, most people would say, well, when would be another time for you to call? When will you have time? But if they picked up, it means they have time right now. How cool is that? To say, hey, I'd love to watch it again with you. I haven't seen it a little bit. I thought it'd be a good one, but why don't we hang up? We'll both watch it. I'll call you right back. Is that okay? Okay. Again, that call led to another exposure. Every call should lead to the next exposure. So now they've watched the video, and the question is what? They've watched it. What's the next question?
What did you like best?
What did you like best? Not what did you think about it? What did you like best? Was there something in it that really resonated with you? Is there something, because they say, well, I just like the whole thing. You know, if you're trying to get somebody to get specific, sometimes that's not always easy. So I just like the whole thing. Well, was there anything that you really learned that you didn't already know? No, I kind of already knew a lot of that. You know, these are the tough ones, right? You say, my gosh, I think it's so cool that you already knew that. So are you already eating your 7 to 13 every day? Well, no. Oh, okay. So did this make, then you can get back to, so this makes sense to bridge the gap. So you're going to have that conversation with them. But once you kind of feel like you've had a good conversation and it's leaning in, one of the things that you can do is, especially if you've got somebody that's, that can I have some cream too, that's not super, doesn't have lots of energy around it. Because, you know, some people really want Juice Plus, but they don't go, yes, I can't wait to get started. They're going, it's fine, it's okay, it's whatever. In that case, it's nice to say, so then you can really ask that question. Well, so you're not eating the 7 to 13. What would happen if you did eat that much, do you think? Let them tell you what it might be like to experience more fruits and vegetables. Let them tell you what they think it might be like to experience more fruits and vegetables in their bodies rather than you telling them. And then after that, it's, well, does this make sense as a way for you to bridge the gap? That's what I would say. Does this make sense? So I'm going to just stop there and see if you have any questions. Any other comments? Any other things that you like to say? Okay, so on average, how many exposures does it take for someone to say yes typically? How many exposures?
It often takes 6 or 7.
I think it's really funny. Eric Worre in this book says 4 to 6, but I think when you read stuff from the Direct Sales Association or any of those larger groups, they actually say it takes more like 6 to 12 exposures. So, wow. And then they actually give you the statistics, which I don't have, of how many people who are presenting their product, sharing their product, stop after exposure 4 or 5. And if it was 6 to 12, one more exposure could have been the yes. Number 8 could have been the yes. If it takes 6 to 12 and you're only on 5, you got a few more to do. Or if you're like Lauren Slocum, it only took her 17 years to say yes. Think about that. Is that crazy? And for Jeff Roberti, that produced a 200 plus, 300 plus club partner. Huge business, and huge business in Australia. Huge. But it only took 17 years for her to say yes. I know most of us are not that dedicated to going. My sponsor used to say, you go until they spit in your eye. Now, I know, Leslie, you and Holly knew Pint, right? I think you did. But, you know, I don't think I could go that long, but his idea was until they give you an absolute no, never call me again. He kept calling. That was his cue. So if you can handle that. Now let's just talk about a couple other, it's 10:50. And so we only do a 20-minute call. I'm going to stop right here, but I want to talk next week about objections. Things like, how many of you do hear that it's too expensive? I don't like taking capsules. My husband will never let me do this. We're going to address all of those on part 2 of skill number 4 next week. So I want to remind all of you, I'm going to stop this recording for a moment here.